CPU performance is now determined by far more than speed alone. Intel made this very clear when it introduced its system of processor numbers. These provide an indication of a processor's architecture, cache, and front-side bus speed in addition to its clock speed. The architecture of a processor is the most important factor to determine its performance and refers to its basic design and complexity. Some processors are simply more sophisticated than others, with Intel, for example, producing powerful processors under its core processor family, such as the dual-core, the quad-core, the Core i3, the Core i5, and Core i7 being the most powerful. In addition to clock speed and architecture, a processor's cache and front-side bus speed also determine a computer's overall power. Cache is a form of a very fast memory integrated into the processor chip and used to store up instructions so that it has to slow down as little as possible between tasks. Cache is measured in megabytes, with low-end Celeron processors having as little as 0.25 MB of cache and high-end Itaniums having up to 24 MB. The simple message is, the more cache, the better. Front-side bus speed is a measure of how fast a microprocessor communicates with the computer's main circuit board. Again, the higher the measure, the better for overall performance, with FSB speeds currently ranging from 533 MHz up to 1.6 GHz. The random access memory is the computer's main memory. RAM is measured in megabytes and gigabytes. Just how much RAM a computer needs depends on the software it is required to run effectively. A computer running Windows XP will usually function quite happily with 1 GB of RAM, whereas twice this amount is the realistic minimum for computers running Windows 7. A computer's graphics system determines how well it can work with visual output. Graphics system can either be integrated into a computer's motherboard or plugged into the motherboard as a separate video card. Graphics system integrated in the motherboard is known as onboard graphics. They are quite powerful and sufficient for handling the requirements of most software applications aside from games playing, 3D modeling, and some forms of video editing. Today, 40 GB is an absolute minimum hard drive size for a new computer running Windows 7, with a far larger capacity recommended in any situation where modern office software is going to be installed. Indeed, for a professional video editing, using a program like Premiere Pro or Adobe CS6 now recommend that a PC has at least 3 internal hard disks, one for the operating system and programs, one for the video project files, and one for the video media. Two key factors determine the speed of traditional spinning hard disks. The first is the rotational velocity of the physical disk itself. The faster the disk spins, the quicker data can be read from or written to it. Hence, the faster the disk, the better. The second factor that determines performance of a traditional internal hard disk is the interface used to connect it to the computer's motherboard. There are 3 types of interface exist. First is the SATA, which is the most modern and now pretty much the norm of new PCs. Next is the IDE, which is a slower and older form of interface. And the SCSI, which happens to be the oldest but still the fastest disk interface standard. To better understand the topics under System Specification, answer the following essential questions. I hope you learned something new today. Next time, I will be showing you how to retrieve the system specification from your computer. Good day!
Created using Powtoon.